Thank you, and good morning, and welcome to the Economic Conference of the EDC of Southwest California. Glad to see everyone here this morning. My name is Morris Myers. I'm Executive Director of the EDC, and we would love to, number one, thank our sponsors this morning, Southern California Edison, City of Temecula, and Paulson Manufacturing were generous enough to sponsor this event for us, so we really appreciate their support of the EDC and all the different things we do. I also want to thank the members of the EDC and the EDC Board of Directors for all that they do to help support the organization as well, too. The EDC is a member-funded organization, so we really depend on their involvement to make things happen with that. I also want to thank our committee that helped put this together. That was Diane Strand, Carol Aristide, and Cheryl Kitzero. So we really appreciate all that they do for us as well, too. So without any further ado, I would love to introduce to you our first speaker this morning. Joe DeMike is Head of Partnerships for Small Business Advocacy at Google, and will be speaking on Google's impact on business and how it relates to Southwest California. Joe is a key leader in Google's effort to grow small businesses, and his focus is on creating, expanding, and maintaining strategic programs that strengthen Google's ability to help small business and organizations prosper. So, with that, I introduce to you Joe DeMike. Thank you, Joe.
Morning. All right, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me here. I flew in last night to San Diego and drove up this morning. My wife is from Brooklyn. Anyone know where Brooklyn is? What's that? The other side, yeah. Queens? Okay, all right. And so I told her I'm flying down to Temecula tomorrow, and she said, "Where's Temecula?" And I said, I think it's near some Marine Corps ballroom dancing training facility. That's what they do here nearby, is that right? I'm just kidding. I'm a former Army officer, so I have to tease the Marines whenever it's possible, whenever I get the opportunity. So forgive me if I take a little poke at my brothers in arms. Anyone here a former Marine? Oh, quite a few. All right, that's good. How about Army? All right, in the back, my favorite gentleman. You can sit right up here if you like. We have excellent seating right in the front row. It's VIP seats. Okay, so can the presentation come up? All right, there we go. Again, I'm Joe DeMike. I've been promoted. I'm now the head of small business advocacy. It's been awesome, amazing time at Google in the last few years working on growing small businesses and strengthening them and helping them be more successful. We give a lot of things to small businesses to help them grow and help them be more successful. I'm going to talk about those today. How many business owners do we have in the room? Great. And how many people work very closely with a small business? I mean, besides ownership, but there are other ways you influence small businesses. Students? All right, everyone's a student of one form or another. I'm going to really try and test your brains this morning. I know it's early. You've all been caffeinated, so that's good. That's been taken care of. I'm going to start off by asking you to think way back, not too far back for some of you, 1998. I want you to remember who used the search engine in 1998. You did? You used the search engine? Which search engines did you use? Alta Vista. Good one. What else? Which one? Now, you know, I've never heard of that one.
It's a German
one, okay. How about America Online or Yahoo? Lycos. These are the things we're going to talk about today, and the very first thing is going to be getting found on Google, and I'm going to give you a brief history of Google and why our search engine has become the leading search engine in the world and how we intend to stay that way. We're also going to talk about connecting with customers, getting unique insight about your customers or about your market. So your market consists of not just customers, but also competition and other factors, suppliers, buyers, etc. Anyone familiar with Porter's 5 Forces? If you're an MBA person, there's all sorts of things that affect the marketplace. You can get unique insight about your market from tools that search engines like Google make available to you. And then we're going to talk about productivity tools, how to be more efficient in your business for less money. So first off, like I said, a brief history of Google. I'm going to show you a couple of images of search engines from way back in 1998. All right, the first one I'm going to show you is Yahoo. Remember Yahoo? Yahoo is still around, so of course you remember it. But do you remember what it looked like in 1998? It looks, I mean, some of the things are very similar to what they have now, but I'm going to call your attention to the part on the page here where it says Arts and Humanities, Business and Economy, Computers and Internet Education. What are those? I mean, what are they?
Categories.
They're categories. Yeah, they're categories. So when they first started out, search engines tried to bulk dump website pages into categories. And do you know how they did it? Manually. A person would look at a page and say, this page is about education. And they would put it in. And this page is about software, and they would put it in. And then pretty soon, they started saying, well, you know what, we can't do this manually anymore because there's a lot of web pages. So they started to ask the people who created the web page to use terms called meta tags. Meta from the word to, about or thinking of. What is this about? And to use a meta tag would be to say, this page is about software. The search engine would read the meta tags on a web page, and it would say, okay, it says it's about software, so we're going to put it in the software bucket category. What's the problem with that? Yeah, what if it's not about software? Yeah, people lie, unfortunately. So what happened is, you have another one here. There's AOL.com. You'll notice the web channels, they're calling them, but these are also categories where they're putting them in. And when you were to type in here, click here to search the web. Doesn't look like my laser pointer is very powerful this morning, but if you were to type in the box, the search box, or the click here to search the web box, what you're going to get there is someone who's doing, or a software program that searches the meta tags of a website and looks for a match. But again, it's the same problem. What if someone's not entering the meta tags correctly? So it didn't take long for people building websites to say, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to put every word possible in there as a meta tag because I just want to come up in every search result I can because maybe somebody will buy my vacuum cleaner. I'm going to talk a lot about vacuum cleaners today. So what we have here is a little issue with the problem behind search engines. And then finally, there's Alta Vista. Again, categories down on the left side, and a search box that basically queries the meta tags of a website, of all the websites that it can get a hold of. So then Google came out, and it didn't put in categories. And even this part at the bottom, this was Google in 1998. Okay, this is what it very first came out as. There were a couple of preset searches like help, about Google, company info, etc. But really they wanted to avoid this category concept. And what they said was, what we're going to do is we're going to create a program called a spider, and the spider is going to crawl websites, and it's going to follow the links on the websites. It's going to read the websites. And instead of reading what the meta tag is on the website, meta tags are still helpful for a lot of things. But instead of just reading what the meta tag says, I'm going to scan the words on the website. And I'm going to look for words that are keywords, words that are longer than a certain number of letters, and usually are nouns, and describe, if you have enough keywords on the page, they'll describe what that page is about. And by doing that, I'm going to build an index. And an index is just like an index in the back of a textbook, where if you want to go to your index and look up General MacArthur, you can look up General MacArthur in the index, and it'll tell you every page of that index where General MacArthur is mentioned, every page of the book where General MacArthur is mentioned. Google's index does the same thing. If you type in a keyword, it will show you a list of every single web page where that keyword is included on the page. Now, that is not very difficult. Okay? It's not that hard to do something like that. It takes a long time. You have to build this index. It takes a lot of storage, a lot of data, a lot of hard drives. But that's not the tricky part. That's not why Google is good at what it does. The tricky part is when I search for General MacArthur on a search engine versus in a book, I'll get 75 million results or 150 or 200 million results. The order I put those results in, the order that they're displayed to you, the searcher, that's the hard part. That's what makes Google number one. So we put the results in the correct order for you. So when I say correct, I mean give you the most relevant results for you as an individual first. All right, getting found on Google. By the way, this process of ranking the order in which the results come up, the ability to get yourself higher in search results is called search engine optimization. It is not the same as search engine marketing. I'm going to talk about both of those things this morning, but first I'm going to talk about search engine optimization. So in this section, I'm going to talk about how Google Search works and a few other things, promoting your website. I'm going to talk about mobile devices as well. That's very important now. And then I'm going to start off with the why, first of all. So 97% of people who use the internet use the web. They use it to find products and services to purchase online. So almost everybody who uses the internet, which in the United States is quite a few people, they're trying to find businesses to purchase from online. And unfortunately, there aren't a lot of businesses that have websites, believe it or not. Can you believe that? Who doesn't have a website and has a business in here? Not yet? We'll get you, don't worry. So I'm going to talk about how many people don't have a website in a few minutes. First off, I want to mention that this is the search query. This is where it goes. It's where you type in keywords. Remember, keywords are just a few small words that describe what you're looking for. Keywords are incredibly important on the web. And keywords, when you talk about the future, I'll talk about the future a little bit later in the presentation. But when we talk about the future, I'm going to tell you that keywords are critical because shortly, the interface that you commonly use to search here, a website interface, that interface is changing. A lot of you type in keywords on a website, but you also type them in where? Maybe on a mobile device, typing in keywords, and then you're probably using Siri or Google Voice Search, hopefully, where you're saying your keywords. And when you say keywords, it's different from when you type keywords. You say things differently than how you type. And so the keyword technology has to adapt to that, the ability to match what you're looking for with what you're saying. And pretty soon we'll think of other ways that you're going to enter keywords, maybe not on your mobile device, but maybe on your wearable technology, maybe into your wristwatch, something like that. So this is where the search query goes on a regular Google website, right there at the top or underneath the Google logo if you're on google.com. These listings that appear underneath are called organic search results. Organic search results are not paid for. They are the natural search results that comes from Google searching the web and listing the information here on the search engine results page. And that's exactly what this is. This is a search engine results page, also known as a SERP. And SERPs, it's a very common term if you work in the SEO industry. If you ever hire an agency to help your business with search engine optimization, you want to talk about SERPs. Where are you coming up in the SERP, in the search engine results page? You really want to be the #1 search result because 42% of all the people who do a search on Google end up clicking on the first result. Here it's listed as Clothing Boutiques, Nashville, Tennessee. It's a Yelp.com result for this example. 42% click there. So that's a pretty important thing considering that the average length of a search query on Google is 4 words, and we get 4 billion searches every day. So you can imagine that there's an awful lot of traffic that can come from the organic listings in your search engine results page. Does that make sense so far? Who have I lost? All right, we're not going to leave anybody behind today. Take everybody with us as we walk down through all these slides and teach all this stuff. Yes, sir?
42%, is that a Google metric?
It is a Google metric, but so the number is very consistent amongst among all the search engines. So in the US, we have about 68% of search engine traffic. In Europe, we have about 97% of search engine traffic. In some countries, we don't have hardly any. China, for example, Baidu is the industry leader. We're not the industry leader in Russia, but for most of the country, or for most of the world, we are the industry leader, so these numbers are pretty consistent. All right. So when I talked before about organic search results, that's the stuff that no one pays for. The internet does have to be paid for. It is funded mostly by advertising, and the advertising on a search engine occurs on the top and on the sides in a yellow section, and it's marked as ads or paid ads or sponsored listings. And that's very important because you should know the difference between the two areas in a search engine, what you're clicking on that is free organic listings versus what people are paying to show you. The top and the sides are where people pay to show you, and you can have up to 11 ads on a search engine results page. 3 on the top, going down the top in the middle, and then 8 down the right side. That's on Google, that's where the paid ads show up. And those ad positions are numbered. We'll talk about those in just a few minutes. The concept of paying for advertising on search engines is called search engine marketing. Remember, search engine optimization, search engine marketing, those are two different things. Optimization is getting your website to naturally come up higher in search results for keywords. And search engine marketing is paying to put your ad on a search engine. That's how Google makes most of its money. Yes, sir?
So does the keywords also affect what ads come up with?
It does, absolutely. In fact, that's the most critical part of determining what ads come up. So Google is very careful that if you're searching for vacuum cleaners, we don't show you ads for Italian-made leather shoes. We show you ads for vacuum cleaners because you're looking for vacuum cleaners. And that's why, if you compare this to, say, newspaper advertising, when someone opens up a newspaper and they see your ad, you have no idea if that person was looking for whatever it is that you're putting on in your ad. Let's say you do sell vacuum cleaners. You have no idea if the person opening that paper is looking for vacuum cleaners. But when they type in vacuum cleaners in a search engine, you know they're looking for vacuum cleaners. So where's the probability of a conversion the highest? Conversion is turning an ad impression into a sale. Obviously, it's higher on the search engines, and that's why search engine marketing is so popular, and it's really revolutionizing the advertising industry. Great question. Yes, sir? Sorry? Oh, for the ads. So for organic search results, 42% of those who click on organic search results go to the first listing on organic search results. And you want to know who on the top ad, what it is? It's about 60% of ads will click on the first ad result for ad results. Yeah, it's right around there, 50 to 60%. So the first ad page the first ad result is very important as well. Okay. Does anyone know who A.G. Lafley is?
Sorry, is there a trend there? Organic versus paid.
Is there a trend in what way?
As far as, is the trend rising for organic and lowering for paid? I've heard that.
Not necessarily. So when you talk about organic versus paid, first off, not every keyword gets paid listings to display for it. So if you're looking up General MacArthur, for example, there's not a lot of people who are paying to reach people who are searching for General MacArthur, because what do you sell? I mean, maybe you sell General MacArthur T-shirts. I don't know, but you're not really paying for that keyword to sell. So you would see. So the data's skewed a little bit. It's hard to compare apples to oranges. But if you are saying, like, is there a trend between more people clicking on organic than paid for common paid marketing terms like vacuum cleaners? I'm not aware of a trend. If you see an article about it, send it to me. I'd love to know that. That sounds really interesting. Who knows who A.G. Lafley is? Did I ask this one already? Yes. He's the CEO of Procter & Gamble. And he used to talk about these 3 very important steps. I think he came out with it in the late 80s. He talked about this. Stimulus, first moment of truth, and second moment of truth. He said that when you're talking about especially consumer packaged goods, the stuff that you go to, the grocery store and buy off the shelf, or the department store and buy off the shelf, that sort of stuff, there are 3 really important moments in advertising and impressing ads and then getting a conversion, getting people to buy them and take them home. He said that those were, the first one was a stimulus. Stimulus usually is something like a television or a radio commercial. You hear it or you see it, and then it implants in your brain this awareness that you might want something. It creates a want for you. Or it might address a need that you didn't know that you had. In any case, it provides some type of an initial bump, a stimulus. Then you have, during the stimulus phase, the marketers are brilliant. The advertisers are genius. They could paint something any way you like it. You know, buy it now. We're going to run out. You got to get it right this second. But wait, there's more. You know, all these other common bias tricks that go into play at the stimulus portion of the life cycle. The next thing that happens is what he calls the first moment of truth. The first moment of truth is when you walk into the store and you stand in front of the product and you look at the product and you pick it up and you touch it. At that moment, you are going to make a decision. Am I going to buy this, or am I going to buy this one, or am I going to buy this one? And he said that there's a lot that goes into marketing at that point. The packaging, the color, the shape, the touch, the feel. But it is a lot different from just your marketing nebula that happens in stimulus, where it's like we can make this product seem to be any way it is. You have a moment of truth there. The truth comes out when they physically touch it. The second moment of truth is when they take the product home and they open it up and they use it for the first time. And at that moment, again, marketing aside, does your product actually work? Is it actually good? So you can take this framework and you can put it towards a restaurant, for example. You get a stimulus, some type of, maybe a flyer in the mail, or you hear an ad on the radio, or a newspaper, a coupon, something like that. It gets you into the store, and when you walk in the door, the restaurant, when you walk in the door, it's your first moment of truth. It's the appearance of your facility. And then when you sit down and you eat the food, that's the second moment of truth. So what's exciting about this is that a guy at Google, a really great guy, good guy, Jim Lisinski, wrote a book recently called The Zero Moment of Truth. And he basically describes in this book how the web has changed this quite a bit. And we no longer have this stimulus, first moment, second moment of truth. What we have now is called the zero moment of truth, which occurs between stimulus and the first moment of truth. By the way, stimulus can easily occur online. So on the web, you can definitely have all sorts of stimulus. But then what happens is something called the zero moment of truth, where as a consumer, now you're consumers at the moment in this example, when you go online and look things up, before you make a purchase decision, that's your zero moment of truth. You are doing research ahead of buying. And the trend here is overwhelming. So in 2010, the average consumer looked at 5.6 websites before they made a purchase decision. Now that's across all verticals. In 2011, the average consumer, that number doubled to 10.8 websites that the average consumer looked at before they even made their first purchase of a product. In fact, I have a nifty chart here that shows you, if you can read that, if you're sitting way in the back, bad decision. Should have sat way up here. It's not too late to come forward if you'd like. But this is the average number of sources used per shopper. These are web sources. So in terms of consumer electronics, if anyone sells consumer electronics, before someone makes a purchase decision, they're going to look at 14.8 websites on average before they decide. And on banking, 10.8 websites while they're comparing financial products. Some of these numbers are really big. I think automotive, 18.2. Now, who's bought a car recently? Do you think this number is realistic? You looked at a lot of websites before you bought that car, right? Did you? Okay. Yeah, and the market for this stuff, and when I say this stuff, I mean websites that help you comparison shop. That market is through the roof. I mean, if you want to put, I can't give you investing advice, but let me just tell you, that's a great market. But you know, this idea that like comparison shopping, people are becoming more savvy in terms of shopping. It's much more difficult to be a snake oil salesman nowadays. Much more difficult. So you have to actually have a good product. Now, one of the things, I'm going to talk a little bit later about endorsements, but an endorsement is, you know them as reviews. We call them endorsements because they cover, it's not just writing a review. Sometimes you click a like button or you click a +1 button and you endorse a product or a service publicly. You can endorse lots of things, but it's relevant to you when people endorse business products. So when it comes to endorsements, there's another concept in technology called friction. We want to make things Things we want people to do more often, we want to make them really easy to do. So if something's really easy to do, you will naturally do it more often. And with the concept of endorsements paired with friction, what has happened on the web over the last several years is that it's become easier and easier and easier for you to leave a review for a product and service or service. It's become really, really simple. In fact, people are emailing you saying, please leave reviews. We want you to leave reviews. We want to build up a repository of information about what products are good and what products are not good. And so we're demanding reviews of you, and we're going to make it so easy for you to leave a review. You just open your phone, you open the email, you click a star from 1 to 5, or you click, yes, I liked it, no, I didn't, whatever the case may be. And now all of a sudden, you're creating this huge repository of reviews. Well, if you're a business owner, reviews affect you. They affect you very strongly, and I'm going to tell you how strongly in a few minutes. But what I want to communicate here is that second moment of truth where you use the product or service, where you eat the food at the restaurant, where you go down the slide at the amusement park, whatever that is, you leave a review online, and your review becomes the 0 moment of truth for the next person in the funnel. All right, so that connection is very important. And if you understand that, you're going to, the whole concept of like reviews and your review profile and your link profile online and things like that, that all becomes a little bit more clear. Okay. So let's talk about what you can do to your website today to make it come up higher in search engine results. Because as I said, there's tons of search engine traffic out there. The paradigm has shifted in marketing and advertising. No longer, not advertising, but in marketing, no longer are business owners trying to reach customers. What's happening is that customers are being stimulated more now than ever. And so there's more stimulus out there. There are more customers who are searching for your product or service. And so your job is not to go out and find them. It's to make it easy for you to be found. Okay? Make it easy for you to be found. Make it really easy. Make sure when they search a keyword like Hoover vacuum cleaners, if you sell vacuum cleaners, you want to be right up at the top. And it's difficult if you're competing against national brands, because national brands have dozens and dozens and dozens of people on the staff who are really good at search engine optimization. But you can do it if you include keywords on your website like local keywords like Temecula or Pendleton or Oceanside, things like that, because that is something that brands can't do as well. You can be a local business, a local provider. People like buying from local businesses. I'll give you a couple of tips for your website as well. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is that content is the stuff that's on your website. So it's words, photos, videos. That's content. Words, photos, videos. The content that sits on your website is the words that you write about your business or about your products, the photos of those products or the photos of your business, and then any videos that you might have as well that are on your site. If you have bad content, you will not rank well in search engine optimization. You won't rank well on a search engine results page. You have to have good content. What's the difference between good and bad? First one, most important, is relevance. If you sell vacuum cleaners, you had better write about vacuum cleaners. Do not write about, I have a friend, dear friend, great guy. He has a real estate business. He actually teaches people how to flip houses. And he has blog posts on his website. Blog posts are great because, as you'll see shortly here, keeping up to date on your website, blog posts really help you do that. But for a little while, he was writing blog posts about his experience at restaurants and how it translated into flipping houses, or his experience traveling to Machu Picchu and how it translated into flipping houses, or his experiences here or there. But he wasn't often writing about flipping houses. And I told him that it was going to hurt his ranking in search engine results. Your blog, if it's on your website, needs to be about flipping houses or teaching people to flip houses if that's what your business is about. And try not to write about unrelated things. If you do two really different things, let's say you sell vacuum cleaners, but you also sell shoes, those things aren't related. You know, if you sell vacuum cleaners in the back and shoes in the front, they're not related. You need to have two different websites for that stuff. Right? Otherwise, you will be penalizing yourself. You'll come up lower. So one website about one thing will rank much higher than one website about two different things. Okay, so and to make that clear, if I'm selling Hoover vacuum cleaners and I have a website about vacuum cleaners, I'm going to rank really well when someone searches for Hoover vacuum cleaners. But if I sell shoes and vacuum cleaners and it's on the same website, That when someone searches for vacuum cleaners, I'll do poorly. When someone searches for shoes, I'll do poorly. Yes, sir. Mhm. Yeah, so the question was, you have to be creative in how you draw people into your website, and sometimes vacuum cleaners aren't very sexy, is what you're telling me, and like, how am I gonna get people to come to my website about vacuum cleaners? So there's a concept called link bait, which is basically writing an article that is, it kind of pushes the envelope in terms of, the subject, in order to draw people in to read it and to draw other webmasters to link to it. So for being an accountant sometimes can be monotonous, I'll bet. Are there any accountants in the room? Yeah. Huh? Am I right? I'm careful. Look, I love my accountant, trust me. But it can be like, we're talking about big data, and not a lot of people, go out and like, let's read a sexy article about accountants. But I'll bet that if you wrote an article that was like 3 ways the IRS is going to take your money this year without you knowing, people will go, well, wait a second, that's kind of interesting. And so that's a link bait type of thing where it's, and you'll see these all over the place. If you read online publications, you'll be like, hey, 5 things to watch out for if you buy razors. Well, geez, I buy razors all the time. I got to look at that article. That's really important. 4 ways you didn't know you were going to lose money on this investment. Something like that. Yes, ma'am. Link bait. Bait, like fishing bait. Right? I want to get you to bite. Okay, that's what that is. So yes, I would say that you can use a link bait concept in order to initially draw people in, but the bulk of the content on your site has to be related to what it is you sell or what it is you do. Now, if that is especially important when you pay for search engine marketing. If you pay for ads, your website will get a quality score. It will get ranked by Google. It will get scored by Google on how, let's say, for example, I want to advertise on the keyword Hoover vacuum cleaner. I want to pay money for that keyword. They're going to look at my website and see if it's really about vacuum cleaners. And they're going to look at my blog to see if it's about vacuum cleaners. And if it's not, it would be very expensive for me to advertise on that word. But if it is, it will be cheap for me to advertise on that word. Did you hear what I said there? It's cheap to advertise online if you have a website that's about what you're advertising for. In fact, that quality score component is essential. It's something that really reduces your costs. So if you have a website about vacuum cleaners and you advertise for that keyword, it's not going to be expensive to advertise that way. But if you're trying to advertise for vacuum cleaners and your website is about shoes, it's going to cost you a fortune because you get penalized and Google will charge you more money. In fact, in most cases, if it's too different, we won't show your ad no matter how much you pay. We don't want that money because it's going to ruin our search engine experience. And as soon as our search engine experience is ruined, we turn into Alta Vista. Right? You have to have a good experience in the search engine for the user. So no matter how much money you pay, you can't get your ad in front of users who aren't looking for what you're selling. Can't do it. Yes, ma'am. Not on Google anyway. What kind of programs? Mm-hmm. It's not going to do as well. The question was if your website is linked to other websites, is that kind of what you're saying, that aren't related to what you're selling, buying, selling? It's not going to do as well as if they were. But the worst thing that you can have is when a really bad, evil website is linked to your website. You don't want that. So let me give you an example of an evil website. And Google's motto is don't be evil. So we use the term evil, like don't be bad, don't be evil, don't do the wrong thing. So I'll give you an example of an evil website. Let's say there's a website out there. So part of Google's algorithm, part of the way we rank part of the way we rank search results is we look at how many links come into that web page. So let's say you have a web page, Matt, and Susie, you have a website, a web page, and Matt writes an article, and you find that article interesting, so you put a link on your website to Matt's website. That is a vote of confidence that Matt has a website that's good. Let's say, ma'am, Stephanie, you put a link to Matt's website. That's a vote of confidence that his website is good. But your name is Lauren. Lauren, you run a business where you take money from people to give them links, okay? You're what they call a link farm. So you take money, people pay you, and you say, okay, I'll give you a link because it's like a vote of confidence, right? It actually isn't, because Google can tell link farms. We can differentiate. So we know that Lauren is evil. You're very evil, and you have an evil website. And guess what happens when you link to Matt's website? Your website goes way down in search engine results, okay? Because we know that you got a link. Now, you may not have paid for that link. In fact, your competitor may have paid for that link. Whoa, that's scary, right? Your competitor may have paid her to link, in which case you have to let Google know, hey, I don't want this, I don't want this link. Don't follow this link. And the way you tell Google about that is through something called Webmaster Tools. Now, Webmaster Tools is absolutely free. I'm not selling anything today. I'm not interested in selling you or anything like that. I just want to educate you today. Webmaster Tools is free. So if you use Webmaster Tools, this is a way for you to tell Google, this is my website, this is my email address, and this is my website, and link the two together so that you can tell me when something bad is happening to my website. For example, if a competitor has purchased a link to my site, then we'll let you know that that has happened. We'll warn you ahead of time. We'll say you're going to get penalized. Your site is going to drop. And then you have time to go back and tell Google, do not, I don't want this link, disconnect it. All right, no follow that link. Does that make sense? Webmaster Tools is another way to show, for Google to tell you how we see your site. Does anyone in the room, I'm going to close my eyes because I don't want to know. Does anyone in the room have a website that is Flash? Any Flash websites in the room? 10 years ago? Awesome, thank you. Yeah, so Flash is bad because search engines can't read it. So if you have a Flash website, search engines can't read the words on Flash, they can't see it. And so as a result of that, we don't know where to rank your site. It's very difficult to rank it. So I highly encourage you not to use that. I recommend HTML5, Java, etc. Oh, that stole my big thunder. So let's go ahead and steal my thunder. I teased you earlier, and I said 97% of people look at products or search for products and services online to make purchase decisions. 97% of people who use the internet do that. And how many businesses in the United States do not have a website? Any cheaters that looked at the screen when I hit the button? Okay, 58% in the United States do not have a website. Is that surprising? I'm pretty surprised. But it's true. A lot of local businesses especially, dry cleaners, coffee shops, places like that, they don't have a website. And so they don't have a web presence at all, and this is a problem for a lot of reasons. It's mostly 15 million businesses in the US, by the way. It's mostly a problem because now that people are searching for what they want, if you don't have a website, customers will never find you. That's just going to stay on there. So we want to solve that problem. Part of solving that problem is doing events like this, where we talk to business owners about making sure you're online. And you can always give people free websites. If you have a friend who's a business owner, probably someone who doesn't compete with you, but just a friend who's a business owner who doesn't have a website, you can send them to gybo.com, which is getyourbusinessonline.com, or californiagetonline.com. And you can actually go on those sites and send them an invitation, and Google will give them a free website for a year. And after that, it's about $7 a month, which is just cost, which is a great deal. Getting online really helps businesses grow. Does anyone know how much faster a business grows if they have an online web presence versus if they do not? 40% faster. You'll grow 40% faster. The other thing is that you are twice as likely to hire an employee in any given period of time if you have a web presence versus if you do not. Now, there's the absence of causality there. Getting on the web doesn't necessarily make you hire people, but it generally indicates that you're going to grow fast enough to where you will be hiring. You will be growing faster. Okay, here's a couple more tips for promoting your website. Email is incredibly efficient, and it's an easy way to promote your site. There's a fine line between spam and email communication that generally adds value. And when I say adds value, I want you to think about it like this. Does anyone know the #1 rule of marketing? The #1 rule of marketing is that other people are not like you. It's the #1 rule. It's the first thing you learn in the first day of your first marketing class. Other people are not like you. So when you send other people emails, you can't write emails that you think you would like. You have to really be empathetic, and you have to think, what are other people going to want to read in this email? Not all my customers are like me. I have to write emails that are interesting to them. And if you write an email that's interesting to them, that adds value to their lives, they won't delete it. They might delete some of them, but they will not delete all of them. I get emails all the time from companies that I have done business with in the past. I'm on several lists here and there, and I get emails. And I know the difference between the ones I immediately get rid of or put a filter on and they automatically get deleted, and the ones that I actually sometimes glance at or sometimes read. It costs them nothing, almost nothing, to send me that email. If you have a program, if you use a service called Constant Contact or MailChimp, there are a lot of other CRM tools, client relationship management tools or customer relationship management tools that do automatic emailing. If you're a bigger business, you might use Salesforce.com and Marketo. There's a whole bunch of tools that you can use online in order to send emails out to your customers on a regular basis. Who has an email marketing campaign today? Great. How's it working? How do you measure it? Any volunteers want to tell me? Yes, sir. Great. So you can tell when someone opens an email because you're using a service. Which one do you use? Constant Contact?
Well, I use a service that's provided by
Okay. Oh, well, nice. All right. Well, talk to this gentleman in the back when you get done today. That's fantastic. So you can tell how many people are opening. And you can make side-by-side comparisons and say, which of these get better open rates? Who's opening, if I put more pictures in there, if I use a different font, if I use different background colors, what's going to cause someone to open versus not open my email? Or is it a content difference? If I write something like 5 ways the government is going to, foreclose on your home this year or something like that, that would be kind of scary, but it's pretty, that's pretty borderline link bait there. But is that going to get someone to open if I have a real estate business versus, tips to make your lawn prettier, something like that? Oh, sorry, going back here. We're going to talk about social media in a few minutes. Social media is a free way to get endorsements and other things, get engagement from your client base. We think that you should always promote your website wherever possible, on T-shirts, in your ads. You always, have. The reason we ask people to promote their websites is because, well, one, we're a search engine company, so it's great if we have more search traffic, so that's always great. But the other thing, the more important reason is, your website is a place that you control. You control the colors, you control the experience, you control what people learn on it, what they don't learn on it. When you have a social media page, you do not always control those things. You don't control the look and the feel entirely. You control the content, but then you don't control the comments that come in. And we've seen some people that go in, they put nice content on, and then they get lambasted in the comments. They get abused in the comments, and they end up taking the post down, etc. But if you control a website, you control just about everything. And so you're able to put your best foot forward. Yes, ma'am?
Going back for a second to email,
Mm-hmm.
can you talk a little bit about the strategy for optimization for ads as it applies to email? So, for example, when I'm in my Gmail account and I am writing something about, I teach hospitality management, for example. If I write something about that,
Okay.
all the ads that will come up, of course, are for the 15 different schools if I'm so interested that offer that particular degree.
Yep.
And
So the ads in Gmail pay for Gmail. Gmail is free because we put ads in Gmail. Now, a lot of people, I think your concern is about privacy more than anything. So remember that a human being cannot read your Gmail. Well, we have a couple of people that can get access to your Gmail if you lose your password, for example, and then they can go into your account and reset it for you. But a machine scans the words and makes matching to ads. Now, even the advertisers don't know who you are. So even if you click, they still don't know who you are individually. They know that someone clicked, but that you have to actually make a purchase and put in your credit card and everything else before they know who you are, before they even know that it came in via an ad. So the advertisers can't read your email. Google can't read your email. A computer looks at the words in your email and compares it, just like the search engine page where you type in a query and we match ads and websites based on the query that you type in. So I mean, if you have privacy concerns, I will tell you that Google has the best privacy controls out of everybody, but there is no way to be 100% private online. We tell people often, if you are that concerned about privacy, you may not want to use the internet because the internet is built in that sort of, and you may not be, but I just want to let you know that a human being cannot see your emails.
Right, well, I'm looking at it in two viewpoints in terms of advertising, marketing opportunities too.
Sure.
In that, so Google applies a lot of these same strategies and offerings to advertisers, so that's another opportunity for advertising as well.
Absolutely, because while you're typing that email, remember there's two. Think of it this way. Think of advertising in terms of being affinity-based versus intent-based. When I say affinity-based, I mean things that you like. So if you go online and you search for vacuum cleaners, I don't know if you like to ski. I don't know if that's something you like to do. I don't even know if you like vacuum cleaners. I just know that you intend to buy one. I mean, I have a good idea that you intend to buy one. So that's intent marketing. Intent marketing is where you're typing things into a search engine. Search engines are great for intent marketing because you're typing things in that you are probably going to buy. Certain things especially. If you type in pizza, there's a really good chance you're going to buy some pizza that day. If you type in on your mobile phone, if you type pizza in on your mobile phone, there's an 80% chance that you'll purchase pizza within 60 minutes. 60 minutes, 80% chance if you type pizza in. Now, if you sell pizza, how badly do you want your ad on that guy's mobile phone, right? When it comes to email, it's a little bit different because the conversion rates really aren't as good because people generally, when they're writing email, they're not thinking about buying stuff, they're writing email. It's more of stimulus advertising there, and you know, everybody does stimulus advertising, radio, TV, newspaper. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, I completely see where you're getting. So if you're a business owner, are your ads appearing in someone's Gmail, yes or no? And whether or not, you know, that's appropriate. That's a decision that you have to make when you choose to advertise. You had a question.
Yes, if a professor was to, if she wanted to write an article on the top 10 reasons why students choose hospitality management programs, and she wants to differentiate herself between 16 other schools
Mm-hmm.
that are offering hospitality management programs, is that a valid strategy?
Sure.
Would Google actually place that article high on the
I think they would. I can't say for exactly, but yeah, I mean, this is an article about hospitality management programs. If someone is searching for a comparison of hospitality management programs, that article would come up really high. That's called content marketing, by the way, if you're not familiar with it. It's the idea of creating answers to people's questions in lieu of them actually in anticipation that they will actually ask that question. So, and I'm really sorry, I was in New York last week, so I'm still a little bit jet lagged. It's like, I don't know if it should be earlier or later. But let me restate that so it's more clear. Content marketing is where I write an article that answers a question that has not yet been asked. And I wait for that question to be asked online, and then my article will appear. Writing that article means that not only does the user get valuable information that adds value to their life, to his or her life, but they also eventually at the bottom or somewhere in the article, they get linked to you who sell that product or service that they've asked a question about. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
You're on your own computer, you put in a keyword search. Is it more likely that, like, your
The question was, if you are a business owner, you are at your computer and you search something that you sell, is it more likely that your business will come up? The answer is yes, most of the time. That's right. In fact, this is a trick that some companies use to trick business owners and saying, look, I got you ranked really highly in search results. I'll tell you why. Well, maybe not. They could be on their own, but before you walked in the door, they could have searched the same thing and clicked your website many times. So one of the things that Google looks at when they look at websites that are going to rank high in search engine results is they look at click-through rate. For example, if you have a website that sells vacuum cleaners and people are searching for Dyson vacuum cleaners and they click on this website many times, that click-through rate is high. So I searched for a Dyson vacuum cleaner, I clicked on your website versus the other ones. In the future, first off, when I search for Dyson vacuum cleaners, if I'm a different person from the person who did that, from all the millions of people who did that, Dyson vacuum cleaners will still come up higher for me. That website will come up higher for me when I search for Dyson. If I'm the person who actually did all those searches, it will likely be the #1 search result because I've searched for that and I clicked on that and I did that 100 times or 10 times even. So you can drive your own search results up. Remember, Google writes its algorithm because we want you to be happy, the searcher. Not necessarily you, the business owner, but you, the person doing the search. We optimize for the user, the consumer, the person, the individual out there doing searches. So if that individual searches for, pick a product, ties. If they search for silk ties and they click on a website that sells silk ties, they do that over and over again, that website, even if it was 3rd or 4th or 10th on the list before, the next time they do a search for silk ties, it's going to be up at #1 because Google knows that that person, when they search for silk ties, this is where they often want to go. So I often search, for example, if I go to, my wife has a company. If I go to my wife's company's website, I can type in the first letter into the Omnibox or the search box, and her website's the first thing that comes up because when I type a T, most of the time, it's called instant search, most of the time I'm going to her website. So as soon as I type a T, boom, her website comes up. It's the first result that I can choose from. There are other examples of that. So what some companies do to trick you is before you come in or before they interact with you, they'll say, I've been working on your website to get it ranked up higher in search engine results. Come in, I'll show you, or I'll show you on your web page, et cetera, et cetera. And they will pre-stage, they will make it so that it's a very popular result for them. And they'll show you, oh, you're #1. But you may not be #1 for everybody. You want to be #1 for people who are in different locations, who have different backgrounds and profiles. Let's talk about personalization for a second. Yes. Yep. Probably you should have it in the subject line, the answer, to draw them into the article, but definitely the article itself has to be about the answer to the question. Let's talk about personalization for a second. If you do a search for hotels in Barcelona, what's going to come up? Pardon? Not vacuum. It might come up on mine because I talk about vacuum cleaners all the time. But if you do a search for hotels in Barcelona, what comes up? Hotels in Barcelona. How many keywords? Hotels in Barcelona, how many keywords? 2. Good. Nice. A lot of people say 3, but it is not. It is 2. In is not a keyword. Hotels in Barcelona is just really 2 keywords. Hotels Barcelona or Barcelona hotels. It's really the same thing. So I'm going to get a list of hotels in Barcelona, Spain, most likely, unless I've traveled to Barcelona, Texas a lot, in which case I will get hotels in Barcelona, Texas. There is only one. So you get the idea here that, okay, well, that's good. We personalize. Now, what if I change one of those words? What if instead of hotels, I put Hilton, Barcelona? There's no Hilton in Barcelona, Texas. So I'm going to see what? Just the Hilton in Barcelona, Spain is going to come up as my top result. Now, what if I change just one more keyword? Instead of Hilton, Barcelona, what if I put in Paris, Hilton? What's going to come up? I'm going to ignore that word. The person is going to come up, most likely. Really? For everybody? I'll tell you this. If you are of a certain age or gender, then you're likely to see the hotel in Paris. If you are of a different age or gender, you might see Paris Hilton, the person. The reason you see two different things is because of this concept of personalization. Google is going to put in front of you what it thinks you want to see. So if you are someone who, for the last 30 days or so, has been researching vacations in Europe, Google is going to show you the Hilton in Paris. Maybe you're planning a retirement party. Maybe you're planning a vacation for your spouse. Maybe you're doing something along those lines. Maybe you're just going to Europe. All right, but if you've been searching Brad Pitt and Taylor Swift and all this other stuff online, Google is going to show you Paris Hilton, the person. Now, the reason we do that, and some people are like, well, it's a little bit, now you're getting into my personal stuff, and it's the reason we do that is again, it's a human being does not make this evaluation. No human sees what you're searching. What they do is they say, let's look at your search history. Let's look what people who searched for Taylor Swift often then search for Paris Hilton and then clicked on the person. So if you search for Taylor Swift a lot, we're going to assume that if you search for Paris Hilton, you're going to click on the person too. So that's how it works. All right. Think about that stuff when you are choosing a name for your business. If your business name is not unique, it might be difficult for someone to find you, especially if you do some if you're in the tourism industry. Why do I say that? Why the tourism industry? People are searching from not local, right? They're searching from far away. So if the location benefit of being near the searcher, that doesn't help you. They're in Chicago and they're searching, coming here to maybe taste some wine or shop for antiques. So you have to be really careful that you're not naming yourself a common name. Okay, so it's an hour and 10 minutes into the presentation. I'm about 25% of the way through the slides. So we'll hold questions now. And then I've briefly mentioned search engine marketing. I'm going to cover it. Again, I'm not selling you anything, so I don't want to talk too much about search engine marketing, but just to give you an idea. At some point, every business has to pay for advertising to grow. That is just the way of the world. You have to do it at some point. When you choose to advertise online, I'm going to give you some tips so you don't lose money doing it, because some people do incorrectly advertise online and then lose money. So if I search for clothing boutiques on Google in the search box, ads will come up in the search engine results pages down here in the bottom left, and then people who click on the ads will go to your website if you've paid for an ad. That's how search engine marketing works. You pay Google once they click, not whether or not your ad is shown. You only pay Google when someone clicks on your ad and comes to your site. Once they get to your site, it's your job to close the deal. It's your job to convert them into a customer. So again, an advertiser pays when someone clicks an ad. Now, I told you before that the search engine ads, the advertisements are numbered. There can be 11 total on the page. In this example, there is one ad in the top, and we can see 2 down the right side. Okay, there's boutique clothes and something official site. Those are ads on the right side. And then in the number 1 position is Julie's Clothing Boutiques. So let me just clarify. The ads are numbered 1 through 11, and they're rank ordered based on 2 factors, quality score and bid. I'll explain more of that in a second. But if you get a click on your ad, you do not pay the price that you bid. You pay the price that the person in the next highest position bid. Okay, you pay the next price down. Before I blow your mind, let me just explain that in more detail. Let's say you're on eBay and you're bidding for a rare edition Barbie doll that came out a long time ago. You really want this Barbie doll, you've got to have it. So you're bidding for it. Now you're willing to pay $100 for this Barbie doll. And so you put in, my max bid is $100, but eBay takes you up 1 penny at a time, 1 penny at a time. The next highest person is only willing to pay $90.10. Do you end up paying $100? No, you end up paying $90.11, right? That's how ads work on Google as well. If I put a bid that says I'm willing to pay $1 for a click if I'm in the top position, and the next person is willing to pay 75 cents, I don't pay $1, I pay 75 cents, okay, if I get a click. I pay what the next person bid. All right. I have a little bit more to say about online advertising. It's really important to structure your account correctly, and we have all sorts of tools online that I encourage you to take a look at. in order to structure your account correctly. When I say structure, I mean there are account level settings, and then you've got campaign level settings, then you've got ad group level settings, and then you've got ads and keywords and all this other stuff. And a lot of people go in and they don't actually set up their account correctly. They don't set it up so that they get the most money out of their advertising. So what I highly encourage everyone to do is to write down this phone number, and when you're ready to pay for advertising, call the phone number, and we'll set up the accounts for you for free, and they'll be set up correctly. 1-866-2-GOOGLE. 1-866-2-GOOGLE. You will talk, if you've never advertised before, then you'll get connected to the sales department, and they will build your advertising campaign for you. Then, if you need customer service, now you're an advertiser, you have an ID number. If you need customer service and you call, you will get connected to our services organization, and they will help optimize your campaign. They'll help you actually make money off of your advertising. So if you're spending money on advertising but you're not getting a good return, I encourage you to try online advertising if you haven't already. It's very effective. It's effective because you are going to reach the people who are looking for exactly what you sell. All right. I talked earlier about mobile and mobile products. Mobile is very important right now. It's extremely important. I think by 2015, there's going to be a mobile device for every man, woman, and child on the planet. That doesn't mean that babies are going to have mobile devices. A lot of people are going to have multiple mobile devices. I have 2. How many? Does anyone in the room have more than one? Several people. Tablets included? Yeah. So the idea that mobile searches you've seen have grown 4x since 2010. I'm sure this number is bigger now. The slide is about 6 months old. I'm sure it's grown even more than that. But mobile is critical. The difference between mobile and desktop is that you have fewer words or characters to get your message across. So you can't, in the old days, people would write these sort of lavish descriptions of products or services. People don't have time to read that on a mobile device. They don't have the space, you don't have the real estate to display it on a mobile device. So you have to have some brevity, and you have to get right to the point on a mobile device and draw people in with shorter phrases. Now, the mobile revolution is great. It's preparing us for the next revolution, which is going to be wearable technology. I'll talk about it at the end. But wearable technology is going to have advertising opportunities as well, and they're all, when appropriate, naturally, and they're also going to require extreme brevity. All right. If you don't have a mobile version of your website, then you can get one for free at howtogomo.com. Google gives them away. We're partnered with Due to Mobile. It's free for 12 months, and then I think it's about $9 a month after that, which is a great deal. And what they'll do is you can type your website into this tool, howtogomo.com, and Google will show you what your website looks like on a mobile phone, and then what it could look like if you have a mobile optimized site. And you can get a mobile optimized site up and running in about 2 hours, maybe an hour, depending on how fast you go. Mobile optimized sites are very important. They cut the text down to just what's important. They also make any kind of button on your website, anything people can click or push. Instead of having a link, they make it something that your thumb can handle, something that's large enough for where your thumb can handle. We've all looked at websites where they weren't mobile optimized, and you have to sort of blow them up, and then you read the text, and then you're trying to click on the link, and you click on the one next to it, and it's just not a good experience. How do you expect people to buy from you if that's what your website looks like? Make it easy for them. Take the friction away. Make it so simple they can't not buy from you. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the consumption chain. It's a great concept. It's a way to frame things in your mind about what brings people along the chain from stranger to loyal customer, and how certain online products fit in that consumption chain. Has anyone heard of the consumption chain? No? All right, this will be helpful for you then. All right, it's a known chain of events where someone out there floating out in the universe we call the market, that person is very unique. They fit into some sort of segment. They're a woman. They're 33 years old. They have dark hair. They have no children, for example. Pardon? She is single. Yes, she's single. So she fits into a demographic. Now, a lot of people use segmentation strategies to figure out, like, I want to target this kind of person for my product, and that's great. Big business uses segmentation strategies. The problem is that people are infinitely segmentable. I act like a different type of consumer depending on what time of the day it is, whether I'm standing next to my wife or whether I'm shopping on my own. I have different buying behavior. I have different decision making. You do too. So it's very difficult to segment all the way down. I'm not saying you shouldn't segment. The internet allows you to segment almost to the individual level. So that's why if you're not thinking in terms of segments, if every customer just looks like a customer to you, I encourage you to think about the differences between your groups of customers, the difference especially between a new customer and a repeat customer. So when you're a new business, you spend a lot of time getting new customers. But when you're an old business, you need to still spend time getting new customers, but you need to make sure that your repeat customers and your loyal customers are taken care of. What is the difference between a repeat and a loyal customer? It's on the slide. A loyal customer won't switch, even if somebody else comes out with something better. They open that's on the slide, right? Oh yeah, it's right there. A loyal customer doesn't want to switch from you. Even if there's a new coffee shop down the street, they'll come to your coffee shop anyway. I've been going here for years. I'm not going anywhere else. I'm loyal. You want loyal customers. Loyal customers and repeat customers together make up 80% of the average small business's revenue. That's pretty good. So for new businesses, for new customers, you want to have this concept of awareness. People can't buy from you unless they know you exist. Once they know that you exist, you want to get them to try you out. Once they try you, that's the first moment of truth. Then you want to get them to come back to be a repeat customer. After they've been a repeat customer for a while, you want to make it so that they don't want to go anywhere else ever. That's loyalty. So these products that I've got under here, these online tools, they're designed for each of these steps in the process to move you from one place to another. So if you've got a new business and you really want to increase the awareness, then you want to look at location targeting, hyperlocal ads, advertising, daily deals. What's a hyperlocal ad? Come on, guys, how dare you let me say a word that you don't know and not stick your hand up and say, wait a second, what is that? Hyperlocal ads. Oh no, no questions, not no questions, just shorter questions. A hyperlocal ad is where you're targeting a person at a time and place where they are most likely to buy from you. So, a hyperlocal ad, for example, is where I am walking through a shopping center and I have my phone out and I look for something and I see an ad that comes up 10% off a store that I am walking past. Now, I am at a physical location that is convenient to buy something at that store, and it is a time when I'm at that physical location, the store is open, that I see that ad. If the store was closed, I wouldn't see it. If I wasn't walking nearby, I wouldn't see it. That's hyperlocal. Okay, now I'm going to walk in that store, and I'm going to use my 10% coupon, and I'm going to get something, and I'm going to walk out. It's hyperlocal. You really want that. That helps with awareness and trial. Awareness and trial. I may have walked past that store and not known it existed. So mobile marketing allows you to do hyperlocal, okay? And local marketing is very important for you. Loyalty cards, we have digital loyalty cards now. Google Wallet is a product that we use where you can load a loyalty card. What's a loyalty card? You have them if you go to the grocery store. If you have their card, then you get discounts that nobody else gets. Or buy 10, get one free. You can load buy 10, get one free onto phones now, and that way you don't have to carry a bunch of cards in your pocket. You can that people punch out with a star-shaped hole punch. Those days are nearing to an end. People are going to have those things on their phones. And then if you have them on your phone, not only will you be able to just always have it with you, because who goes out without their phone? You go in and you say, okay, I got this cup of coffee, now I'm at number 9, I'm good. When you go near that place again, that app can tell you, hey, you've got 9. If you get one more, you get free one. While you're walking past, you can go in and get it. All right, it's a little scary, but if you're a business owner, it's great. And hey, they might like your coffee. All right, you'll notice that social is across the bottom of all of these. Social is incredibly important. Social is important because of the social aspect of human beings. I think we've got social coming up next. Yeah. Okay. So these are some interesting numbers. We talk about social and endorsements together. Endorsements, again, are when people vote for you. An endorsement is when someone shouts publicly, I love this place. I love this business. I love this restaurant. The food is amazing. That's what social endorsements are. When you like something or +1 it, you know that everyone can see that, right? So you shouldn't expect privacy if you're endorsing something publicly. The idea is to tell people. Now, if you use Google+, for example, you can say, well, I only want people in my circles, my friends or people who know me, to be able to see my endorsements, and that's fine. But endorsements, the idea behind an endorsement is you're helping the next person out. Do we ever have to like give an incentive for people to leave endorsements? A little bit, but actually not much. What we end up doing is we just take the friction away. If it's easy to leave a review or an endorsement, most people, not most people, but many people will leave one. Why is that? It's one of my favorite things to discuss. For thousands and thousands of years, our civilization, our race, has become prosperous, has saved itself by sharing information that's really important. So, back in when we were all in tribes, someone would point to we had spoken language, we developed a spoken or a written communication, we would say, don't eat that plant, it's poisonous. Don't let your kids play with that plant, they'll get a rash all over their body and die. This is great soil to farm in. You'll get a lot of corn if you farm in this soil. We communicated with each other all of these things, and we did that because it helped our species survive. But now it is hardwired into your brain to share word of mouth, to share information about something good that you found or a place to stay away from. So all we did with endorsements is make it easy for you to do that, and people do it like crazy. Yelp, Angie's List, Google reviews, they're huge, huge. And these comparison sites where you can comparison shop, it's huge. People want to know what they're in for before they get in. You want to ruin that surprise. Yes, sir? So there are definitely a lot of endorsements. The question was, is there like a fatigue coming on here? Are people getting tired of endorsements? There's no signs that there is any slow in the number of people who consume these endorsements, who read them. In fact, that's only accelerating. So more and more people are reading more and more reviews online before they make a purchase. There's still a lot of room for there to grow. So we're not near the point where people are like, you know what, I'm tired of reviews, I'm just going to go on impulse buy. If anything, it's still trending the other way. Good question. All right, so I'll give you some even better numbers than the ones that are up here. If you're considering a product or a service, let's say you're thinking about buying a new pair of sunglasses, and you go online and you see the sunglasses are on there and there's some reviews that are left and they're positive, you are 7 times more likely to buy those sunglasses. Now, if you see reviews from people you know, friend, family, acquaintance, you're 14 times more likely to buy that product, those sunglasses. So reviews are very powerful. And if you don't know the reviews that are out there for your business, you should. You should do everything you can to make it easier for the people who like your business to review you. So what I mean by that is I'm not telling you to go out and pay people to give you reviews. In fact, if you do that, we'll find out. We're watching. But what we want you to do is make it easy for people who like your business to review you. Put a review kiosk in your business. Send people an email saying, click here to leave a review for me on Facebook or Twitter or Google+. Not Twitter, they don't do reviews, but you know what I mean. Yelp, Angie's List, whatever the service, wherever you best get reviews listed for your business. So reviews are very important. As you can see here, Google+ reviews appear in Google search results. So if you get +1s for a product or service or a website, they'll appear as an endorsement. This was Hotel in Spain. It's an example I used earlier. So somebody +1 Booking.com's listing, and so you'll be able to see here that people have endorsed that website. So if you're looking for a hotel in Spain, I recommend Booking.com. I've actually used Booking.com, and it's great. So if you travel internationally, they're the #1 hotel site. Now, if you like something, you click the share link. So sharing things online is becoming easier and easier. We want you to share because it's a way for us to differentiate between websites and between products and between services. We want to show the best things. We can't show the best things unless you vote. You vote for them by sharing them. You vote for them by searching and clicking, click-through rate. That's how we share the best things with people. And then you can add, if you have a website, you can add endorsement buttons to your site. The like button, the +1 button, the retweet or the tweet button. It's very simple to add a little tiny bit of code that the websites give you to put it on your website and let people share your website. You should do this if you don't. You should do this if you don't. Make it easy for people to leave you positive reviews. Yes, sir. Unless everyone hates you. Yes. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, the question was, what do you do about bad reviews? I mean, to summarize the question. First off, let me just say that every business gets bad reviews. Our research shows that if you have no bad reviews, you are not credible. People are less likely to buy from you if you have no bad reviews than if you have a few bad reviews. We also know that the average, out of a 5-star scale, the average review is a 4.2, and 80% of all reviews are positive. So most people do not have a lot of bad reviews. If you do have more than that in terms of bad reviews, you may actually be a bad business. So one problem that you have is, just like we mentioned earlier, Lauren is an evil person. She has a horrible, evil website. I'm sorry, Lauren. I got to call you out here. Not only does she sell links, she also sells reviews. Wow, you're a review farm and a link farm. I bet you're a click farm too. Do you sell clicks? You probably sell clicks too. Making a lot of money at this point, but Google is tracking you down. Make sure you don't get away with this. So review farms are where people pay money to get positive reviews left on their site. Google is able to identify review farms and reviews that are false and take down the review farm and take the reviews off if we own the review site. So Google has its own review engine, meaning we have our own set of reviews, but in the past we didn't. And so other companies would have all the reviews listed, and Google would just scrape those reviews. We would read them and put them on the Google website. Now, the problem with that is when people would say, I have a bad review I don't deserve, take it down, Google would say, we can't take it down. You have to go to the website where the review actually exists and have them take it down. It became so problematic that Google launched its own review site so that we could deal with our own reviews ourselves. So what we have now is we have two enhancements that make the review process a little bit better. The review process will never be perfect. But to make it better, there's two enhancements. Number one, as a business owner, you can respond to reviews. If you've claimed your listing, if you've claimed your have claimed your website, you have a product or service, you can respond. You can enter in your response to a review. So if it is a disgruntled employee, you can state that in the review, although we don't advise you to do that sort of response. What we encourage you to do, we have a 15-minute training actually on how to respond for bad reviews. You can find it on YouTube on the Google Business page. But it's a 15-minute training on how to respond to a negative review. And we basically say, like, stay classy. Be classy in your response. The best thing that you can do is to say, I understand that you're upset. I apologize on behalf of my business. I would love the chance to make it up to you. Please come in, and I'll be happy to provide you with some sort of a coupon, discount, whatever. I'd love to meet you in person and work this out. What we find is when people, we have lots of graphs, lots of charts, lots of data at Google. What we find is if a business gets a negative review and they respond to that negative review in a classy way, don't get into an argument, but just say, I'd like to make it up to you. What we find is that entire thing is net positive than if they just had an above average positive review. It's not as strong as a 5-star, this is a great review, but it's stronger than just an average review by far. So negative reviews don't always have to hurt you. The other thing that we advise, or that we've made, is that you actually have to log in to leave a review now. You can't leave anonymous reviews. So you have to have a Google account, a username and password. So for Lauren, who's running her review farm, it becomes very difficult for her to hide behind fake reviews because we can tell that the person who created this Google account created the account just to leave a review. They don't use email, they don't do searches, they don't search on maps, they don't use anything else, they don't use YouTube. They're not a real person. Real people don't act that way. People that have evil review farms do act that way. And so that's how we're able to weed them out. Does that help? Yeah, you can always, if it is legitimately a review that is not for your business, there is a place in the Help Center where you can request a review and Google can take it down. But we don't take down bad reviews. We take down where people have reviewed the wrong business. If someone genuinely left you a bad review, then they have a right to vote that way. Okay. Most social media pages are absolutely free. In fact, I can't think of one that's not free. Does anyone think of a social page that's not free? Yeah, so it's a great way to do something free for your business. I always advise people go free first. Go free first. I mean, I know your time is valuable, but if you can set something up on something free, Google Plus Local is free. Setting up a website, I wish it was free. It's not always free. It can be free if you use getyourbusinessonline.com. You can get it free for a year at least. But you'd want to go for the free options first. So this is a chart that this is a slide that basically indicates the features of social. Now, the top group, information like posts, business info, photos, videos, you'll have that on almost every social network. What's different a little bit about Google's social network is you have group video chats called Hangouts. Businesses are finding these to be revolutionary. They're fantastic. People love them. Has anyone used Hangouts in here? In the back? How do you like it? Or your website. Yeah. Okay, how do you like it?
You know, sometimes it's not, the audio is not that great.
Okay, I will let them know. So that's based on bandwidth. So if you have a high-speed internet connection, you'll have better audio and video. If you have a lower speed connection, it's just like other video conferencing tools. They have to dial it back based on the speed so that you don't get lag. But with Google Hangouts, this is a Hangout that was done. You might recognize these guys, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Steven Spielberg. This was for the movie Lincoln. They did a Hangout. This is what a Hangout looks like. You can have up to 10 people down here at the bottom, and you can have, you'll have one of them will appear in the main window, whoever's talking. So it does like the mixed live. So whoever's talking, whoever's dominant in the conversation will pop up into the main window. You can put other things into the main window instead, if you like. You can share your screen. You can do a presentation, and you can do other stuff that is actually being announced today at Google I/O, some really exciting things that are coming out with Hangouts. And if you go home and read about it, and I don't know if it's been announced yet, so I can't release that kind of secret information, but take a look today online. What? Don't you have your tablet with you? Do you know? Some cool stuff is coming out. But I can say that about all kinds of stuff at Google. We're always rolling out new products and features. Some of them work, some of them don't. Our motto is, don't be evil, but our philosophy is, launch and iterate. Launch something, and if it's not good, we'll kill it or we'll fix it. But we launch a lot of things to see what people like. People love Hangouts. So for a business owner, you might be thinking, what am I going to do with the Hangout? There's a bike shop in San Francisco called Zen Bikes, and they have online video classes where they teach people how to do maintenance on their bicycles. Okay, people love them. Not only do you have 10 people that are in the Hangout that can ask questions, and you can provide live answers, you can also chat inside of here. The chat window will open up on the side, and you can take questions via chat. You can also broadcast it. The gentleman in the back said, this can broadcast live on YouTube. How many people can watch it live? Unlimited. Everybody in the world could watch it live. Well, I don't know if our servers could handle that, but thousands and thousands of people could watch it live. And then you can record it and post it places where you want people to come back and see it later. So it's a form of content marketing. You're putting answers out there for questions that have not been asked yet. Yes, ma'am. Zen Bikes. I'll give you another example. King Arthur Flour in the Northeast. King Arthur Flour used to be a small flour company. What's exciting about flour? Not that much. But baking is exciting. A lot of people love to bake, and flour is really important when it comes to baking. And they have kits that they sell, not just flour, but different types of flour and other ingredients that you mix together. And so they do Hangouts where they show people how to bake things. You're on with their master baker. And people love it. And it drives a lot of sales. And guess how much it costs? It's absolutely free. Hangouts is 100% free. It's free for businesses. It's free for everybody. If you have a Google Apps account, that's not free. It's $5 a month per user. I'll talk about apps in a few minutes, but Hangouts is generally free. Okay, let's talk about analytics. You can't really improve something unless you measure it, because even if you improve it, you don't really know that it's been improved. So you must measure things. In this little section right here, I'm going to tell you about using the internet to measure stuff that's important to you. All right, this is a horrible chart, and I hate it. What on earth does it mean? The red line that goes off, that runs across the top is 100%. This is 100% of people who come to websites. Okay? The blue line at the bottom are people who convert on a website. What that means is people who do what you wanted them to do. So I'll give you an example. When you go to Amazon.com, what is a conversion for Amazon? A sale, a purchase, yeah. But when you go to a company maybe that does like a plumber's website, what's a conversion for a plumber? I mean, yeah, you don't usually pay on the website, right? But a phone call would be a conversion. Or filling out a contact form, that would be a conversion. Those are called lead generation websites. And the previous version I talked about, the Amazon version, those are called transactional websites. A website where a conversion is a transaction, it's a payment, you're paying for something. A lead generation website is a website where you just put your information in to get the sales guy or the owner of the business to call you up. So conversions are a little bit different. But the sad thing is that only what's in blue at the bottom, around 2% or less, actually convert on a website, given the number of unique visitors that they have. And that's kind of sad, because that 98% that's left over are missed opportunities. You did not make a customer out of that person. They came to your website, they did not like you, and they left. Now that hurts your feelings, hurts my feelings. I don't like it. Why did they leave? Pardon? Okay, one of the biggest reasons is they did not find what they were looking for. So they searched for something on a search engine. Your listing came up, whether paid or organic. They clicked, they got to your website, it wasn't what they were looking for, and so they left. What is that called? It's called a bounce. Have you ever heard the term bounce rate? That's what that is. It's a number of people who come to your website and they immediately leave. They bounce. Okay, so we encourage you to use Google Analytics. It is one of the best analytics programs in the industry. It doesn't cost a penny. You put a code on your website, and Google is able to track the visitors who come in anonymously and provide you with their information. What I mean by their information is their browsing behavior while they're online, not their shoe size or their favorite color. It gives you answers to questions like, where are they coming from? How did they find your website? How did they get in there? If you have an article on your website that causes 50% of your traffic to come into your site, how important is that article? It's really important. You should know that. If you don't know that, then you're missing out on the opportunity to write more articles like that one. What keywords did they use? The keywords they use to search and find your website might be keywords that you want to advertise on. In the internet, you want to reinforce success. You don't want to strengthen your weaknesses. Okay? Reinforcing success online is a more profitable return on investment strategy. You want to put more money into what works. Is my content any good? Are people coming in and then reading and then being like, I don't understand, this is gibberish, and then leaving? If you have a shopping cart, sometimes there are phases in the shopping cart. You do this, you do that, you do that. One of the biggest reasons I see people bounce a lot is you ask for too much information too early in the process. I'm getting some nods here. You've seen that before. Okay, so it's good to know with analytics where people drop off in your funnel and make that less of an intrusive or a poor negative experience. All right. The next thing I'm going to talk about is Google Trends. Here we've got a comparison of two different kinds of blue jeans. We've got Levi's and Wranglers. So what's interesting is I can compare these things using Google Trends, which is just google.com/trends, and I can compare the search volume over time. In this case, we don't show you the exact search volume, we show you relative search volume. So out of 100% of search volume, what is the search volume day by day, if you want? Yes, sir?
Is there a way to get the actual?
It's really difficult to provide that information, the actual search volume, and the reason is because there's so many different ways to slice that and things that you have to consider. Broad match, phrase match, exact match, etc. And so what we do is if you use the keyword tool, the keyword tool gives you a better idea of search volume and related search terms for that. Or if you use the keyword API, that would be the better way to get exact search volumes. But in trends, it's relative search volume. Yes, ma'am. It's an application programming interface. It's probably not, if you're not a programmer, I think it's for different levels of sophistication here. What an API is it's a way to communicate with our database using computer speak. It's like a translator, yeah. In this case, though, you don't need an API if you use trends because the dashboard here is designed for you, a business owner, to use to see what's selling and what isn't. So it's really interesting to see things like a spike around Christmas time for retail goods. Everyone knows that, but a lot of people don't know is there's usually a larger spike right after Christmas for holiday sales. More people do searches then than they do during, between Black Friday and Christmas. So it's really interesting to see that on retail goods. This spike here, for example, occurs, let's say 2009, 2010. This would be your, I think this is your holiday spike, and then there's usually an after-sale spike over here. Now in this case, I don't know, maybe they may mess with the slide a bit, but the idea is you'll be able to see what's selling and what doesn't, and then you can break that down geographically. So this is really important. It goes all the way down to the metro level, the metro area. So you can say, well, look at that. Wrangler jeans are really, really popular in Wyoming and Montana. Pardon? Yeah, and it's as though they never heard of Levi's. We used to do this example with Lucky Jeans. Was it Lucky? No, True Religion and Wranglers. And it was even more, like True Religions are very coastal. And, pardon? Yes, they're very coastal. So the idea that like certain products sell more in certain areas than they do in others, based on the search volume. You can learn this information. You can get it. The other thing we'll show you is related search terms. So if we were to click over, we can do a live example if we had more time. Unfortunately, we do not. But I encourage you to take a look at google.com/trends. It's a free thing. We also have google.com/flu trends. Based on search volumes of flu-related keywords like cold, medicine, et cetera, we can tell where there's an outbreak of the flu before the CDC can. And we provide that information to the CDC. We can tell all kinds of things. We can tell when there's natural disasters. We can tell when there are other outbreaks or things that are happening. We can tell that ahead of time based on spikes in search volume, and we provide that information. Yes, sir? Metro area. I think that would be a little bit difficult because I don't know that we provide open access to that data. I'm not sure. We'll talk about it after, and maybe there's a way that you can contact Google. And if it's for like a good reason, like a benevolent reason to society, I mean, if it's for capital gain, we don't always do that stuff. But if it's like I want to help make sure, like if there like an alert comes out, if there's a H1N1 virus outbreak or something, then I'm sure we could work with you locally. Okay. Absolutely, yeah, and we have a political arm in Google that works with political campaigns as well, and we don't sell that data. We give it away for free, but some data that's especially relevant, trending topics, and you can use things like Google Alerts, which is the next thing I'm going to show you, to get a signal for trending topics that are occurring. You can put in search terms, and when someone publishes something about them on the internet, you can get an alert in your email that says there's a new article or story or whatever. You should have a Google alert for your name. You should have a Google alert for your business. We encourage you to have a Google alert for your competition, just to see what's going on in your space. Understand your environment. I talked about all the market forces that are going on. If you have a supplier that you use, sole source or dual source, or if you have a few suppliers, you want Google alerts on that because you want to know if that supplier is going bankrupt, if their CEO just got arrested. You want to know stuff like that. They're going out of business. If you have big customers, if you have enterprise clients, you want to put those guys in Google Alerts and get notified if anything's going on online about them. Okay, that's Google Alerts. Last section is about office productivity tools. I'm going to go really fast through this section because there's a couple of cool videos I want to show you. Google Apps is our office productivity suite. How many people in here use Microsoft Office? Everybody, right? A lot of people use Microsoft Office. For years and years, it was the dominant it still is technically the dominant player in terms of office productivity, right? You've got word processing, you've got spreadsheets, you have PowerPoint presentations or slide presentations. There's a bunch of other things, your email. Google has created all of those same things, but they are cloud-based. And the advantages and disadvantages, I could go through them. There are advantages, there are definitely disadvantages. But what we find is almost every tech startup in Silicon Valley chooses to use Google Apps. And every company that has a remote or a virtual workforce, meaning your workers are not physically located with you. And that's my wife's company, for example. Over 300, used to be my company, now it's my wife's company. Over 300, we're almost 400 workers now, and almost none of them are local in California. They're all over the country. I mean, there's a lot in California, but none in Mountain View where she lives. So we use Google applications because they're cloud-based, meaning I can look at the same document on a computer here as I can in Brooklyn, New York. Same thing, I can pull it up, we can edit it at the same time. In fact, if we're in a Google Hangout together and we're doing video sharing, I can put that document in the middle and we can both work on it at the same time and have a conversation together. And we do that all the time. This is how we work at Google. This is how we work, we don't work any other way. So your work is backed up. Now, who saves? Who hits the save button? There's no save button anymore because every keystroke that you type is saved. So if I put a K on the page, it's saved. If I put a J, it's saved. Right? So there's no, oh, I worked on this and then the power went out and I didn't save it and then I throw my computer out the window and damn you, computers. There's none of that anymore. Collaboration is really easy and you can access from any device. So earlier today, I had a request from someone I work with to have access to a file that I had created but had not accidentally not given access to somebody who needed it. I was able to just pull it up and give them access on my cell phone and put it back in my pocket and continue on my day. Their workday would have stopped otherwise if I had failed to share or email a file to them. All right, it's private, it's secure, it's kept encrypted. We use something called mirrors and shards, meaning there are multiple copies of your documents. They're broken up into pieces and they're saved about 6 times in different parts of the world. So if there's an earthquake and it destroys the West Coast, your documents will still be safe in Helsinki. You might not care at that point, but they will still be safe. All right, the last thing is that it saves you money. It is very cheap to use cloud-based software if you can use it, if it works for you. When I say it's cheap, exactly how much is it? We sell this for $50 a year or $5 a month per user. And what that gets you is access to all of the tools, unlimited. You have certain data limits, so if you are storing a lot of information, you may need to purchase more, but it's very cheap to purchase this information. It's cheaper than buying a hard drive that then 2 years later you have to update because it's not the right file storage system. Also, the web-based interface means you always have the latest version of the software. There is no updating the software. It's always updated. So this is the kind of information about it. It used to be 25 and 5 gigabytes, but now if you're familiar with it, it's 15 gigabytes of storage total across all, which is your photos, videos, etc. We have a 99.9% uptime guarantee, which means you almost never have a point where you can't access your stuff. If you're a nonprofit, you could get it for free. If you're education, you can get a severe discount on it. So it's a great thing to have. All right, this is what the email tool looks like. You'll notice here I'm in a conversation in the center with Barbara and Chi. Barbara Chi, and then in the window I'm actually having a video call with Barbara about the conversation we just had over email, and I'm also chatting with Chi over on the right. Now, what's really funny is I used this presentation for a while, and I became really good friends with somebody at work, and one day I pulled up this presentation and I realized that's my friend from work, Emily. That is not Barbara Miller, which is kind of funny, because I sit near Emily and she's terrific, but that's Emily, not Barbara. But now you know this is a real person. She really works at Google. And this is a good example of how it looks if you don't already use it. On the left side, I've got a group of chat. Also on the left side, I have something called circles. Here I've got project circles. So I've got Project Everest, Project something else, and then, Project Denali, and then I have brand management circle. So what's interesting here is I can filter my inbox with one click to the projects I'm working on. I can look at just the Project Everest, whatever that may be. You know, my project to take over the world. That could be what it is. My project to, you know, I don't know, any kind of project that you might have at work. Your project to redo the front yard. Your project to redo the roof. You can filter by that based on these circles over on the left and the people who work on that project with you. So by putting them into circles, it makes it really easy. And then over on the right, I can see all the recent documents that have been exchanged on this, so the recent emails and then the recent documents that have been exchanged on this topic that I'm looking at. So while I'm in this window, I can see everything that's going on about this. Okay. The latest version, like I said, no problem. It supports formats like doc, XLS, PPT, PDF. It actually supports almost every file format. You can always put it in there and then manipulate the files, etc. But it's really great. If you don't use Google Calendar, I highly encourage you as well. It syncs to your phone. It's cloud-based. You can have calendars for multiple work centers in your organization. Let's say, for example, you run a hair salon. Does anyone here have a hair salon? You could have a calendar, a Google Calendar for each stylist. And then you can book appointments that way and manage your resources. There are cloud-based tools from something called the App Store. It's called the Chrome Marketplace. Apologize. The Chrome Marketplace is a place where you can download third-party software not made by Google, but that works with Google's applications. So you can have a cloud-based CRM tool. Why would you need a CRM tool? You want to keep track of those clients that you have. If you have customers, you want to know when's their birthday, what's the last thing I emailed them about. You can use a cloud-based email program and a cloud-based content relationship or client relationship management system, CRM tool, and when you email that person, it could be saved in the CRM tool. So that when I'm dealing with a company, let's say I have a company who's a client of mine, a customer, and there's 4 different people at that company that I've worked with in the past. I can see all those emails grouped together by using circles and by using a third-party CRM tool. And they'll integrate with your Google Calendar as well. It all just works. If I book an appointment with somebody, it'll appear on the calendar. You can, if you see in your email, if there's a time and a place in the email, you can click on that. It'll book an appointment in your calendar. It's very convenient. Okay, and then like I said earlier, when you have Google Apps, your work goes with you anywhere you go. All right. This is a really interesting chart. We'll get back in the interesting stuff. This is a really interesting chart because it shows you over time how certain things have improved and certain things have not. So processing power, that's like the processor in your computers, both computers that are on servers in the cloud and the computer that you bring home today. Your computer that you have at home today, it's faster than the one you had in 1996, right? Okay, just checking. That's good. It should be faster. It's faster because that yellow line that's on here, the computing power, has gone up dramatically, especially in the last 13 years. Storage. Your hard drive today is bigger than the one you had in 1995, right? Should be. Storage has gone up dramatically. We have flash storage. We have all sorts of other storage capabilities that we have now, and that's all gone up. The problem is that internet speed has remained flat for years and years. You know, it's remained flat at roughly 56 kilobaud per second. That's a problem, megabaud per second. Yeah. So that's a problem, and it's a problem because in order to use cloud-based tools effectively and efficiently, you have to have a fast internet speed. You have to be able to transfer data back and forth between your computer, which is a terminal, and then a cloud-based or a client, a server-based computer. So what we've done is we've launched Google Fiber. This is in an effort to kick off some growth in this area in the telecommunications industry, to get people to get companies to upgrade their infrastructure. Let's put more fiber optic networks in. And so what we're offering is, we launched it in Kansas City first. We chose Kansas City, great place. If you've ever been there, it's a beautiful town. And then we expanded it. We've recently launched, announced that we're launching in Austin, Texas, and Provo, Utah. And so hopefully soon, either we'll come here with Google Fiber, or your local cable companies will upgrade their service and give you gigabit internet. So we are providing internet that is basically 100 times faster than the fastest thing that most cable companies provide. And we're providing that for you at the same price. So why on earth would we do that? It's better for Google if we have faster internet speeds for everyone and we have more internet access for everyone. It's silly not to do it. We've invested quite a bit in it, and it's ultimately it benefits you. And it benefits us as well. If you buy, we'll give away slow internet for free. So if you want the same internet speeds you used to pay for from the cable company, we'll just give it to you for free. And then if you want 100 times faster, it's, what is it, 50 bucks a month, $70 a month. And if you put $50 on top of that, we'll throw in high-speed cable TV or HD TV. So it's a great thing, and it's expanding the capabilities of what we can do in the cloud. All right, I want to make a comment about teenagers. Any teenagers in the room? No one's going to admit that. Teens are what we call digital natives. Digital natives are, you have digital immigrants and digital natives. Most of us are digital immigrants, meaning we didn't always have computers and the internet. I was introduced to computers at a very, very young age. I was fortunate to be able to do that. I was not always in this industry, though. I was in the Army for 8 years, barely used a computer at all. My tank was mostly what I used. And then I worked in biotech for a few years. But it's only since I've come to Google that I've explored the full power of what the web can do for everybody. Now, teenagers, they're very interesting. A teenager texts on average 3,400 times a month. That's the average amount that they text. Parents find most of this meaningless. And 27% of 9 to 12-year-olds lie about their age to get a Facebook account early. That says a lot about our society, but there's no way to stop this. You have to figure out how to change and adapt to it. All right, recap. I want to talk about wearable devices really quickly. Is anyone familiar with Google Glass or seen it? A couple people, you've seen the news articles, et cetera. I have a quick video for you. Do we have time? Can I go over for 5 minutes? All right. Goes on your head. It can be worn with glasses. It has a little tiny screen that is just above your sight line on the right. You have to consciously divert your eyes to look up at it. It doesn't really show it very well on the video. The video you saw was actually a concept video. So our creative lab created the video, and then our designers designed to make that happen, which is really neat. And it's a kind of a cool way to do it. So a lot of the functions that you saw on the video are functions that are actually already built into Glass. So it's, I tell people this, it's an interesting thought, but do you know how, if you were in a room today and you were sitting down, let's say you party over at your house, you had a bunch of friends over and you were talking about stuff, and someone said, man, what's the address of that new, burger place on Main Street? And you're like, oh, hang on a second. If you walked over to a drawer and you pulled out a big phone book and you walked back to the middle of the room and you flipped through and you were like burger places and you're like restaurants, okay, and you flipped through and you looked at it, people would kind of make fun of you, right? They would say like, what are you doing? Then they would pull out their phone and they would say burger place on Main Street, and then the listings would come up. So imagine now, 10 years from now, if you're at a party and someone says, what's the name of that burger place on Main Street? What we think might happen is you pull something out of your pocket to physically enter that in, and people are going to be like, whoa, put the phone book away. The idea is technology should become seamlessly integrated into your life. It should be something where you can be yourself and be technological at the same time. And so the idea that you would just say, okay, Glass, where's the burger place on Main Street? And it would just come up, and you could say, all right, it's at 321 Main Street. And the code word, the phrase is OK Glass. It wasn't developed yet, but if you wear these devices and you say, OK Glass, take a picture. It'll snap a picture of what you're looking at. OK Glass, how tall is Abraham Lincoln? It'll tell you how tall Abraham Lincoln is, 6 feet 4 inches tall. So Google Glass is really interesting. We are getting into wearable technology. It's one of our moonshots, we call it at Google. And how about self-driving automobiles? Has anyone seen these? You've read about these, right? I got to be in a self-driving car. Very cool. A lot of people thought I was going to bring one with me down here. Sorry, they don't let me drive it. They don't let me not drive it. We are doing a test. Googlers are taking these out. They're taking them home on their commutes, et cetera, and bringing them back into Google. It's fascinating. This is the new Google self-driving car. It used to be a Prius. Now it's a Lexus. I guess we're moving up. I don't know how that deal worked out, but I have a feeling Toyota was like, you know what? There's going to be a lot of pictures of this. Put it in our Lexus. Like, put it on that. It is. All right. I'm done. It's 10 after 11. I've officially expired my welcome here. I'm going to have lunch with you and then head back to the airport and head back up to Northern California. But happy to entertain questions when we leave the room individually if you have something to talk about. I'm not an expert in every product, nobody is. But I'll give you the best answer I can and direct you to the best resource I can give you. But I really appreciate the time that you gave me this morning. I hope you enjoyed everything. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
Up here where I can